Right, on to significant figures. So all numbers will have so many significant figures in them, and this is the rule for how we know what is a significant figure or not. So the first significant figure in a number is the first non-zero digit, and all digits after that are significant even if they are a zero. Okay, so let's look at a couple of little examples. Right, so I've got two down here. So in this number here, 2034, the first significant figure is this 2 because it's the first non-zero digit. The 0 is a second significant figure. Because it has come after another significant figure, then it is significant even though it's a 0. The 3 is the third significant figure, and the 4 is the fourth significant figure. In this number here, the 0.0205, the 2 is the first significant figure, this 0 is the second, and the 5 is the third. So in this one, it was this one here was the first one. Okay. Now, we need to be able to round to a certain number of significant figures. We also need to be able to round to decimal places and things like that. So I'm going to write out a few wee examples here asking us to round to various different things, and we'll work our way through that. Right, so we've got a selection here of rounding to significant figures, decimal places, or things like nearest 100 or nearest 1000. So the first thing we always need to do is identify the decimal place or the significant figure that the question is talking about. So let's look at number 1. So 154, and I've written these like this because quite often that's how they're written in our textbooks. How many places the question's asking you to go to would be written in brackets afterwards. So 2SF means two significant figures. So question 1 is asking us to give 154 to two significant figures. So we first of all have to locate the second significant figure. So this is the first significant figure, and the 5 is the second. So this is the second significant figure. If we look at the number after it, that tells us whether this has to get rounded up or down. And remember, the rule is if it is 5 or more, you round up, and if it is 4 or less, you round down. So this is a 4, so we round down. So this to two significant figures is 150. It is important that we put that 0 in there to make sure everything keeps its place value. A lot of people would mistakenly just write that as 15, but we have to make sure we put the 0 in so that the 5 still means 50 and the 1 still means 100. Okay. My dog is having a drink of his water there. Hopefully you didn't hear that too much. Okay, so question 2 is 0.0045 to one significant figure. So we have to locate the first significant figure, and because these are all zeros, the first one is the first non-zero digit, so the 4 is the first significant figure. We look at the number afterwards and see whether that rounds up or down. Because it's a 5, this is going to round up, so this is going to become 0.005. This one, 1.098 to three significant figures. This is a wee sneaky one. The third significant figure is what we need to locate. So 1, 2, 3. This 9 is the third significant figure. This 8 tells us that this has to get rounded up, but 9 rounded up obviously is 10. So what ends up happening here is that we would write that like that. So 9 has become 10. It's like the 1 carries over to here, and then the 0 goes here. And if we're given things to three significant figures, we must have three significant figures in our answer. It would not be okay to write that as 1.1. Okay, 2.349 to one decimal place. So this is the first decimal place, the first number after the decimal point. Look at the number afterwards. It's a 4, so that tells us that this rounds down. So that's going to be 2.3. Okay, doesn't matter that the number afterwards is higher than 5, it's this one here, the 4, that tells us what to do. Okay, number 5, 0.0793 to two decimal places. So we find the second decimal place, and that's the 7. So this 8 tells us that this has to round up, so this is going to become 0.08. Now, I haven't left myself enough room here, so I'll do 6 and 7 underneath. So number 6 is what is this number? 3,974,321, and we need to give it to the nearest thousand. So if we think about our columns, we have, this is our units column, tens, hundreds, thousands. So this is our thousands. We need to look at the number afterwards and see what that's telling us to do. So this is a 3, so it's telling us to round down. So 3974, and remember to put your zeros in to keep everything with the place value. So because there's 3 more digits in our original number, we need to put our 3 zeros on there. And then number 7, we need to give to the nearest hundred, so we have to find the hundreds. So units, tens, hundreds is the 5. Look at the number afterwards, it's a 9. This tells us this has to round up, so it's going to be 1, 3, 4, 6, and then because of these two we have to put our 2 zeros in. Okay, so let's do those questions now.